Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaopen.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am very excited today. We have a very special guest with us. Today we have with us Mr. Andre Paradis. He is a relationship coach, an NLP coach, a workshop leader. He is an educator in effective communication, a best-selling author, and above everything else, an ordained minister. So that is quite a resume there that he has. So today he's going to be talking to us about relationships and communicating effectively. And I know we're going to learn a lot. I cannot wait to jump in and get started. So I want to welcome you here today with us, Andre. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Melissa. Happy to be
So
here.
I would really, first of all, love to hear about your background. You have quite a list of jobs that you do. And I'm sure it's no coincidence, but I was even reading a little more about you, and you have a very interesting background anyway. So, if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then how did you end up doing the work that you do now, where you're helping others with relationships?
Good. It's a long story. There's three phases. I'm gonna try to be brief, just because it's a lot of. So, in in a nutshell, my family background, the way I became this guy is at the age of 5. I remember this like it was yesterday. At the age of 5, um, I managed. There was a moment where I put my thinking and my feelings together. Before speaking, people just feel things like babies scream because they can. That's the only way to communicate. So cognitive mind and feelings come together, early. Anyway, I was 5 years old when like this I put together what's happening around me, and I realized this is tragic in so many ways and scary as hell. That I realized I was born in the wrong family.
Really?
Like 5 years old, just remember sitting on the steps and like it just all came together. Like these people don't like me, they're not like me, we can't relate. I'm me back. It's like awkward and strange and dismissive and like, huh? Right? Like, how can this be? Because they got along, but I mean, I was an outsider, I'm number 4 kid out of 5. And so it was confusing and weird. And what happened because of that, realizing that I basically was on my own, right? I had to take care of myself. I had to be sort of whatever. So I kind of started watching the world, like as a 5-year-old, vigilant about people and everything around me. Just first trying to understand, like, how can this be? Why? How can this possibly be? How weird is this? Why? How? Like this, I don't understand. So that was sort of part of watching, and then when I got to school, right from the beginning, watching people trying to integrate. I was always on the outside. It was kind of that's what happened. And became the odd kid, the kid who didn't blend, the kid who had no friends. I had always 1 or 2 friends, but I was never like the pop. You know what I mean? I was on the outside, watching, and that became my life. Like I'm fascinated, fascinated from that perspective since I was 5 years old with the human condition. It just like, how do people turn out the way they do, and how can somebody could be super successful, another one is in the gutter with a needle in his arm, and some had good beginnings and go right to hell. Some people had terrible beginnings and go, Oprah, and look, anybody huge, if you look in their background, typically there's a lot of crap earlier on. So okay, that's weird, that's interesting, you know what I mean? So that became my life, watching everyone, watching everything. Jumping to 15 years old, I was going to a private high school / college. It kind of combined the last 2 years of college, high school into 2 years of college. It was in private school, fancy. Uh, and a girl, the first year of high school, my first year of high school there, a girl came up to me the week before we had to sign up for class, like we're in college. And she's like, "Oh my God, Andre, I'm so glad you're here. Like, I want to take ballroom for PE." We take ballroom for PE. There was a ballroom program for PE. It was just like, okay, and she goes, "Well, we have to sign a couple. You want to sign with me?" And I'm like, wow. Like, first of all, I didn't know she was alive. She knew I was alive. I was the guy who blended everywhere. And so it was really cute. I'm like, God, okay, no brainer, sure. So almost 16 years old, first class a week later, ballroom class, girl in my arm. And this was a surprise as well. This is something that just was that whatever the teacher would show us, I could copy. I just had it. I just had it. I just had it, which was weird because I didn't know I had that. So all of a sudden I go, I have this gift that I could copy everything I'm seeing, So wow, that's interesting. So then of course I started helping other girls in class because the guys weren't picking up necessarily as fast. So now, anyway, so in a second I became like the teacher's pet, the teacher's helper, and I went from gig to like star, like from invisible to like all the girls want to dance with me. Wow. So 1, 2, 3, we did this for 4 years. We started performing locally, blah blah blah. But it was my life's decision, like because I was a sad little kid from my circumstances. I think I smiled for the first time in my life, like truly in dance class, because musicians are very aware of this. Singers know this as well. There's the vibrations of music and sound when they come together with the vibration of your body moving to it. When there's a coming together of that, it's a euphoric feeling. It lifts your spirit. It just makes So I remember like smiling, like be able to right, like wow, like this just lifted my spirit. So it made me happy a little bit. And so I decided I want to be happy more. So that's literally all I want to do. I want to dance. And moved to the West Coast at 19, thinking I was going to continue that on the West Coast. Zero ballroom. It doesn't exist. Wow. Because back east, it was every club was a ballroom club. It was interesting. It was hugely popular in my hometown, in my state. Nothing on the West Coast. Interesting. Anyway, so I ended up in a jazz class, jazzercise, jazz hands, which is not what I do. I'm a ballroom dancer.
Right.
And the conditioning is crazy, right? It's an hour exercising before you get to dance, and then somebody's telling you how to dance as opposed to me taking a girl on it. Anyway, again, my life's a book. Within 3 months, I was doing construction at the time, so I was taking dance class in the evening. Twice a week, 3 times a week, and it became 4 times a week. Because again, it made me smile. That made me happy. Like it's not so much construction. And I'm 19. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I just been alone in the world by then. I moved across the country by myself. 3 months into this, I get a scholarship.
Wow.
Now that's ridiculous because in 3 months of jazz dancing, you know nothing. I mean, you could barely keep up, but they saw something. Yeah. And it was the beginning of my dance career. I never paid for my training ever. Almost from scholarship to scholarship to scholarship. This went on for years. I ended up with a scholarship. Even from, there was a place across the street. It was a Korean ballet company, and they swooped me right up. It turned out I didn't know this. It turned out that I have the perfect skeleton to be a ballet dancer as well. I don't want to be a ballet dancer. I want to be a jazz dancer. I need the music, not ballet music. But the training of ballet obviously is a structure. So I have the hips, the feet, the turnout, the legs, the butt. Okay, so free training for 6 years, every which way. So that's all I wanted to do. And then if you're gonna make a living at this stuff, you have to be in Los Angeles. So I moved to Los Angeles. There's another story there that I'm not gonna tell you because it's that my very own Hollywood story. I was supposed to be here visiting, and I got hired to go on the road like 2 days after I landed. It's crazy. I'm Canadian. Whoosh. Anyway, so that led me to be able to settle back in Los Angeles after the tour, and I joined the industry: music, television, radio. I mean, music, television, movies, commercials. The world of Los Angeles business, the entertainment world. I ended up dancing with Michael Jackson, Prince, Paula Abdul, Julio Iglesias, and like a bunch of new artists. Like traveled the world and got paid for doing this. So I call that phase 2 of my life. So I was a dancer, but not a dancer who was the word. I was a successful dancer, right? And I get that was my life, and sounds glamorous, and it is to a degree. And then, but life on the road, So my wife and I at that time have been together for a few years because we were both traveling. She's a ballerina. We met in my class. And then we decided to start a family. And I decided that I was not going to be the absent dad. I was not going to be in Europe, when my kids are born, or when, like, so I decided I was going to stay in Los Angeles, lock myself down, not traveling anymore. So I opened a car business in LA to hold me down. And I still did the odd jobs, local, short jump, but I was based, So I managed to buy a house with this. The school was, my business was 6 minutes from my house, and the school was 2 blocks away. So both me and my wife were there. Every recital, every parade, every Halloween parade, Christmas parade, every meet, because that's the way I wanted to set up. So I have 2 children. So phase 2 of my life, car life in Los Angeles, build that business, another success. Part of my story, again, with watching the world, is also I I became a workshop head. At the age of 23, I started taking personal development workshops, business workshops, money workshops, get your shit together workshop, what's wrong with you workshop, like this is why you're not successful workshop, even though I knew how to be successful. I'm curious about everything. I want to know everything. And somehow this is my brain. So 2006, I'm in the car business. I'm in San Jose, California, which is Northern California, to help take my business to the next level. Okay. And I meet some very smart people. On the way back on the plane, we're flying back to Los Angeles, and we end up, thought it was a coincidence. I don't believe that anymore. There's 3 people, the 3 of us sitting together, this couple that I met in the event. The lady says to me, "What are you doing next weekend?" I go, "Oh, I don't work on the weekend." "Oh, you want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I'm like, right?
Workshop.
Because those can be expensive, right?
Uh-huh.
And my brain, you want to come to, I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
And then I go, "What's the workshop?" Because I don't even know. I don't care. Like, I know I'm going to learn something. She goes, "It's called Understanding Women."
Sounds interesting.
Now, yeah. So from my perspective, it was a little bit like, oh man, because because my artistic ways or whatever, I always attracted, my story with the ladies is always easy. I somehow attracted sweet women. That's all that was my life. Like, I didn't do the crazy stuff my friends did, yelling, screaming, fits, freaking, like stalking, and none of that. Like, sweet. It was always easy. So I thought it was me. Arrogant. I thought it was me. I thought I had it, right? So I went there on a Saturday morning. I didn't want to go that morning because I think there's a big hotel by the airport. It's Saturday morning. And I'm in the car going like, so like, what are they going to teach me? Like, don't yell, be kind, be sweet. Like, okay, whatever. Thought it was going to be cute is my point. I get there and I walk in the room. There's 400 people in the space. And I go, not cute. Something's going on here. Like, something's going on here that's kind of, I could feel it. Sure enough, the workshop starts. And at the end of it, my brain's all over the wall. I realized I knew nothing about women. Worse, the part that scared me, I knew nothing about my wife. And that scared the life out of me. My wife is my wife. Every time I ever talk, I get choked up. She's my angel. She's my baby. She's my girl. Like, she's my heart. She's my whole life. And to think, I realized that day that there's stuff that I do that to her is hurtful, that to her is confusing, that to her is unthinkable to say or do, or not say or not do. Right? Again, it constantly hurt her feelings, and I have no attention to that. Never. That was to me like an alarm. All my siblings, by the way, are divorced and married twice and 3 times. I have my baby. By then we have a baby and a toddler. Like, it's going well. I'm not looking for this material, but I realize, like, I don't want to become a statistic because I didn't know, what's happening with my wife and how we, and so that was the beginning of this whole thing. Like, then of course I took the entire curriculum that they offer. There was something like 12 workshops. I took all of it because I'm a performer and I'm fine in front of an audience and a microphone. Within a minute, I was a workshop leader. I was teaching the content. I became one of them, one of the workshop leaders. And that didn't work. That didn't work out with that company, but that was like the machine was on. Like I was that guy now. So I continued training Dr. John Gray, Mars and Venus, like masters. I was studying with 5 masters in the field that gave me this cocktail of information where I could explain you the dynamic relationship through like our chemistry of our bodies, our anthropological markers, and our DNA like driving the show. Um, the dance of relationship, like the dance of relationship. Look behind me. This is my wife and I, right? Ballroom dancing. But the dance of relationship, the metaphor is fantastic between dancing and love dynamics, because it's a complementary unit. It's 2 people coming into one. This is a union. Relationships are a union if you do them right. Most nowadays people don't necessarily know how to do relationships. They get on the floor and they go to club dancing and they think it's a relationship. They move in together, but they don't really get invested. I see that a lot, a lot, a lot. I know people are scared and they think we're going to try to live together and see if we get along. And if not, if we get bored, then see ya, we start with somebody else. But there's no commitment there. There's no really getting invested, which means this is impossible, because this takes practice. This takes work. And this takes, grooving together and learning how to move together in partnership together. And in the beginning, you step on each other's toes, and like there's a lot of bumping into that. So a relationship, true relationship, a profound connection requires time and space and practice and knowing how to do it. Because our culture is dismantle all stereotype and which is great on some level, but very confusing now on the other level. Nobody knows what to do anymore. So that's, for me, that's what it was. So I joined, I jumped into this work passionately because of my curiosity, and for me and her, and it became, now I'm teaching I was doing the teaching in my car business. People would show up, and for some reason I'm the guy that people spill their beans on. Like I'm they see I'm safe to be around, and they know they're gonna, I don't know how that's possible, but people like open up to me. Like they know I'm not gonna judge them. I don't know why. But so I'd be with a customer in my office, just finished fixing their car. I'm like, next thing you know, I'm closing the door because they're crying, because they're telling me about their life. Right. So that was the machine, the beginning of the machine. So I was helping all my friends, I was helping my customers, and then people started saying, can you come over here and, teach us this over here? So groups, I started getting pulled in. So I ended up being so busy doing this, and it was my life's mission, by the way. I have a calling about this. I'll tell you in a second. But it became so crazy because I was doing the car business and this on the side, and they both kept getting bigger. So I eventually had to sell the business, a very successful car business, to do this solely. So, which is now, I call it phase 3 in my life, and that's how I get to be here. And my life's calling, I have a God calling. This is insane. I used to resent it. Now I don't, but that is somehow my job, to spread this new, to help people adjust to a new dynamic of relationship. Because in our culture, we flip the script on everything, thinking it's going to be better. Equality is better, right? Making everything more fair is better, and it's not. I mean, it's good for money, for business, fantastic. I'm not that guy. I'm not saying any of that. But we now know, in the realm of building a relationship, it's a kiss of death. Equality destroys relationships. Well, that's important. So anyway, my mission is to actually spread this material around and help people get into a relationship, as opposed to collide and fight and get confused and break up. And the kids are in that, and it's destroying the fabric of our culture. So that's how we got to be here. So sorry, long story.
That was quite an interesting story too, though. But so, in your eyes, what you're saying right now is, because of the way that we are viewing relationships as they're supposed to be equal, this
Yep.
is actually having the opposite effect that we want to have on relationships, or
Yep.
it's, yeah. So can you go a little further into
Yeah,
that?
yeah. All right. And again, stop me when you're full, or I get carried away. But so, in nature, everything I'm teaching, by the way, is nature and science. It's not my opinion. I have opinions about this stuff, but it's not my opinion. I'm not teaching what I think is right. I'm teaching what is. natural in nature. And so everything in nature is polarized. Everything that works is polarized. Everything that keeps working is polarized. The polarity, energy of masculine and feminine, if you want, or positive, negative magnets. Positive, negative magnets, the perfect example, they go snap together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you had two positive magnets, you push and they push on each other, and you can't even get them to touch. And the closer they get, the more they push, right? Masculine and masculine, or feminine and feminine. So in our culture right now, we masculinize women, go girl, boss babe, strong, independent, and powerful. We used to raise men that way, by the way. Now we raise women to be strong, independent. That in itself is good. It's good for for business, good for money. But in the realm of relationship, it neutralizes the dynamic needed to stay together and pull at each other. So if you masculinize women and take out their femininity as much as possible, because that's typically what happens, right? It's sort of one replaces the other, and you feminize men, so they stop doing what men do: provide, protect, give, cherish, support women, right? You bring them down. Like, again, the idea of equality, I get it on paper, it sounds like a good idea, but in action, it's the kiss of death. It destroys everything. We need the magnetism, the polarity of masculine and feminine, whichever way it is, by the way. So like in a dance, I lead and she supports. You know what I mean? In a real relationship, there's a lot more flex. There's a lot more. It's not so rigid as a ballroom couple dancing. And I need to say this because people think I'm saying men should just lead and women should just follow. It's not what I'm saying. But there's a magnetism that needs to be in place all the time. So if somebody is temperamental more than righteous, and what I mean by that is, when we research all the couples who succeed, long-term relationship, 20, 30, 40 years, right? And this is interesting, whether they're straight, gay, or lesbian, right? The ones who succeed, I'll do this. They're all polarized. Temperamentally, typically, it's not necessarily a choice. It's just sort of who they are, right? And it applies to even business relationship when people are not romantic. I'm thinking there's these two guys here in Los Angeles who have a personal development business, of course. So they're partners, and they're successful. They're doing really, really well because the one guy, he is the extroverted, in your face, talk to everybody, opens doors like with his mouth. You know what I mean? Put him on stage, he grabs the mic, he loves it. You know what I mean? He's all the big one. The one is like extroverted, right? And he loves it. That's who he is. That's sort of how he comes out. The other one, his partner, they're just doing business together. They're not in any way in a relationship. His business partner wants none of that shit, right? He's the shy one, the extroverted, the one in the background, the one who does all the writing, all the research. You know what I mean? Right? So they're polarized. That's magnetic. That energy keeps growing and folding up. So relationships are the same. The ones who work, gay, straight, lesbian, it doesn't matter. The ones we study that work, they're polarized. One likes to lead more, and one likes to support more. One wants to lead naturally, that's their intent, their temperament. The other one just not so much. You know what I mean? Interesting. Now, often in our culture now, we flip the script. The woman is more masculine than the man, right? And the men are more feminine or more passive, right? And that lasts for a while, and it falls apart again, because in nature, it's the other way around. In nature, it's the other way around, right? So that's where I'm coming from. Like this again, the research and the studies and the numbers don't lie. So equality sounds great, in love of dynamics kills everything.
Very interesting. And now I
Isn't it?
know that you have a program where you coach couples
Yes.
For relationships. And so tell us a little bit about that. And how are you helping people when you're coaching them?
Well, I mean, my favorite people who are invested, realize that we're different machines, and again, what part of the problems that I see, again, another layer into this, is that because we're constantly hear about equality in our culture, equality, that You know, in the beginning of the feminist movement was about, you know, equal opportunities. You know, you want to be a mom, stay a mom. You want to go to business, let's open the doors, right? So it was about opportunity, equal opportunity of whatever you wanted to be. You know, so but it kind of it's been popularized so much. It's the word of the day. It's, you know, equality, equality, equality everywhere, and it kind of morphs into that we should be equal beings. That men should be more sweet, sensitive, and vulnerable to be good men, and the women have to be strong, independent, and powerful to be good women. Like, to kind of again do this is the idea, like, of what should work. It doesn't, right? So what couples who have a groove who could do this for a while but get in trouble, I think they're in trouble now, and not because they're mispolarized. Sometimes it is, but it's typically because they misunderstand each other, because we're not the same. What motivates me does not motivate my wife. What she thinks is really cute, I roll my eyes at. Like, really, we need more pillows in little boxes? I don't understand. You know what I mean? What turns her on doesn't turn me on. Like, you know, like we're completely different machines in every way, and it's a good reason for that. Nature again, and being polarized. There's the fact that we complete each other, come together to really kind of bring each other the piece that we don't own. So we're completely different, made to fit. Oh, okay. Well, that's nature, right? And then when I get crass, I tell people, like, you know, we're as equal as our genitals. Not at all. Completely inverted, by the way, but made to fit again. So everything about us as human, men and women, hunter-gatherer, masculine and feminine, is made to complement. Why are we fighting this? So equality is what I'm saying. That's when it flatlines everything. Man on man fight, you know, passive and passive collapse. We need the polarity. We need the polarity. So my clients have a version of that enough. They're invested. They have kids. The clients that they're in relationships, where they collapse is, how come, you know, men will say stuff like, why is she taking everything personally? Why is she taking she's taking everything personally? I keep telling you, it has nothing to do with you. Yes, it does. I can feel it. It does nothing to do with you, right? Like, so men get confused with why she's taking things personally. Now she asked me to do this. She asked me to help her with this. She asked me to be this for her. I be this for her. Now she's mad again. She's mad again. Like, I don't understand. Like, she keeps changing. This is what men complain about. And women complain about men that we're shallow, we're cold, we're disconnected, we're not present, right? We don't care. Man, right? So two different machine operating differently. So that's usually where I come in, where I teach women literally about their operating system of men, and I teach men about operating system of women. And instead of pushing on each other and making each other wrong, I get them to pull at each other's instinct. How do you get a man to be a hero? Not by waving your finger in his face. How do you get a woman to feel safe? Well, not by ignoring her.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
like, we as men don't have that instinct about women. We only know, like, you know, so both of us are completely blind to each other's real needs and basic operating system. Is we're so blind to that we can't see it. So that's when I come in, you know, and kind of fill the gap. So I go, you're on one side, she's on one side, let's meet on the bridge somewhere in the middle, and then we can start dancing. Because the moment you get some version of what's happening, oh, for the ladies, 50% of everything you've taken personally from men, by your boyfriend, husband, goes away. Like 50% goes away. Instead of going, why is he so? It goes, oh, look at him. He's just a man. He does it, right? And then knowing that he's my man, and you can start appreciating it instead of being confused, right? And from both sides. So it's really fun. It's really fun. It's
Sounds
really,
like
really
it'd be very enlightening. And
fun.
now I know you work with people in coaching, but you also sometimes offer workshops, don't you?
Yeah, no, like on a regular basis in school. We have one coming up May 21st here live in Los Angeles. First time live in 2 years. I'm really excited because I'm extroverted, so I'm better
Yeah.
in front of people than behind a computer screen. So it's gonna be delightful. But and it's a version of, it's gonna be it's both like lecture style and a visceral experience, because I literally do this with people to show up. So interesting enough, you don't have to be a couple to be in this space. We're gonna have men and women, but after we're gonna break down the dynamic of relationships, the polarity that needs to be in place, how to get there, explain the type of relationship, what you need for a relationship to go long term. I call it the 3 C's. There's 3 things you absolutely have to have, otherwise you won't go far, not forever, right? So so that kind of stuff, explaining the machine of our attraction. And then after the lecture part and the teaching part, I put men and women in each other's arms.
Interesting.
And what happened is, it's fascinating. Right? I'm a dance teacher. I teach this, so that's, again, it's not a big. But when you do your ballroom pose, right, where she has to hold her side, her space, I hold my side, my space, and we kind of link together. There's a instant dynamic revelation, right? If the guy is soft, it's instantly right in my face, in his face. And if the woman is pushy, like, gets frustrated, like, come on, right? Like, it's like, so who you are is instantly in the space. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. Your temperament shows up, right? So if she won't let him lead, that's your whole life, girl. Where are you afraid of man? Where are you protecting yourself? Where are you holding yourself back and you refuse to be vulnerable? And you decide that you should take over because you're afraid to be vulnerable, right? And then emasculating sometimes, rolling their eyes. No. He's your partner for a minute. You don't roll your eyes at your partner. It's disrespectful, right? He needs respect to stay connected, part of the game. You disrespect a man. This is a big one women don't understand. As much as women need to be cherished, men need to be respected first. Men cannot fall in love with a woman who doesn't respect them. But respect isn't obvious to ladies. Like, if you don't mean to disrespect men, you constantly do it not knowing. Just the same way we don't mean to hurt your feelings, and we constantly seem to be doing it because we don't understand, right? So when you disrespect a man in a setting like this, especially when he's trying to learn, he's trying to do his job, do it right, you know what I mean? And you roll your eyes, disrespectful, he'll quit. So, and you'll see this in life. Disrespect men, they walk away. Interesting. So that's gonna be a visceral experience of, like, this is who you are, and it would change partners, and you do it again. That's how you do it again, and with that, kind of like, then take that in the next part of the, then how do you, where is it do you have to adjust? What is it you want the relationship? You can't, this is not gonna work. This is why you're struggling your whole life, right?
Yeah.
If you're disrespectful to men, they keep walking away. Right? And you say they're all, my favorite line is not really nice, but, like, when you find yourself in the same loop over and over, it's you. It's not man, it's not women, it's you, right? So that's what so exercise number one, and sort of looking into, and then how do you get to be like this? Where is it that vulnerability was dangerous? Where is it that being masculine was not received or shamed, right? Part of our culture, we shame men and masculinity a lot. So you shame men long enough just for being masculine or being men, you get this. And women say, we're all the men. Well, congratulations. You tell them they're no good, they suck, they're cheaters, they're toxic. Well, they step off. Not working. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's really a fun thing. It's like, it's both like a lecture and visceral.
That's awesome. That sounds like a very interesting experience, and I'm sure very eye-opening for a lot of people.
That moment where they get it, this is you.
Yeah.
This is you. You can't see, and it's a smack in your face, and I don't have to say anything. And then the revelations are really fun, and then typically explains all your past relationships.
See that.
Eye opening.
See that.
And now, and then how do you do this from that space, and then that's phase two. So good stuff. Really good stuff. By the way, at the end of that, it's a 3-hour event, and after, we're actually going to have a dance class. Like, I'm going to teach them salsa dancing, just because, again, energetically, it's a really great way to be with people. It's very great to be social, great to meet, and it's all over Los Angeles. So it's going to be heady, visceral, and then we're going to actually party. We're going to have drinks and party after the fact. So it's like after party kind of thing.
Sounds
But
fun.
Perfect setup. Yes.
Well, I love that. If we have anyone out there who's listening who maybe has struggled with relationships, would like to know more about themselves or their partners and how they can work on things, what's the best way for them to follow you? And I think you had mentioned before that you might actually have a little free gift for our audience.
I do. I do. So for anybody who's curious about what I do, right? If that tickle your funny bone, you go, never heard it put like this before. That guy may have something, right? That's how I get all my referrals that way. My friend says, you'll be able to explain to me everything I'm doing wrong. Like, okay. But so I'm offering if any of you listeners, if you go to www.andregroupcoaching.com, it's a landing page that we created, and it takes you to my calendar, introduces me a little bit, and it takes you to my calendar. If you book a VIP 1-hour exploratory call, I will get on Zoom like this, one-on-one with whoever is interested. And on that call, we go right to the core of the default system. And what I mean by that is not one of us gets out of childhood unscathed. Not one of us, right? Between the age of 5 and 11, we get our butt kicked, and that period of imprint is very, very important in the development of each human. But that imprint becomes the default system of our lives. So we make decisions and that space about ourselves, the world, people, and in life, and stuff like, I can't trust anybody. I can't trust men. I can't trust women, right? People are dangerous. I'll never find anybody. I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken, right? Whatever it is that you made a decision where you were 5 years old or 6 years old, or, from bad parenting, lack of parenting, shitty parenting, abandonment issues of all kinds. And then those are injuries on the nervous system. And they run the show from the back. Our subconscious is running 90% of our lives. And it's never asleep, by the way. It's constantly awake, even when we're sleeping. So the whole idea we use 10% of our brain comes from that, is that there's only 10% of us that's actually conscious, 90% are subconscious. So the decision, I'm not good enough, I'm not, I can never, like, nobody loves me, runs your life. And it becomes what trips you all the time. So the tragedy of being human is we don't do what we want, we repeat what we know. So the kids who have been abused in childhood, whichever way, believe that that's love, and they create abusive relationship because that's where they equate love. Like, that's tragic. So if you're not able to create something healthy, so that call, in 15 minutes I get there. 15 minutes, we will right to peel the onion. There you go. Because of this and this and this, right? This is why you had to wall up. For the ladies, just kind of man up, right? If you don't feel safe in the world, you man up. And then 25 years later, you can't be vulnerable. Men don't find you attractive. Men don't want to date you. Men find you irritating. What's wrong with me? I'm have everything. I'm strong, independent, powerful. Well, your feminine has been neglected, and men are attracted to feminine women, not your money and your power. Wah wah. So then, but I like that call will make you go from what's wrong with me to, oh, nothing wrong with you, right? This is just what happened. It's normal. Now, this is what happened. We're here today. What's the dream? Let's see if I can help you achieve the dream, which I do. But there's different ways to jump in the program. So that's my offer. Just andregroupcoaching.com, click the button. There's a little questionnaire to help me understand what we're going to talk about. And we'll have a conversation, whether you work with me or not. From there, that call is very valuable, because you could let yourself off the hook that there's nothing wrong with you. You're a product of your past. We all are. That's pretty good.
That's definitely a lot of value to someone who works with you. And thank you for offering that to my guests. And sure. I'm going to have the link in the show notes too, so you can go there and click on it and schedule your call. Yeah.
And if you want to find me online, my website is projectequinox.net. Project Equinox, EQUINOX.net, not com. That's a different place. And then I got I got YouTube videos, I got contents, I have blog, so everything. If you want to shop around, you can spend a good amount of time there. At Project Equinox on Instagram. I have a private Facebook group with almost 1,800 women right now. It's a free group, but you have to apply um, to be let in. And I teach on there. I put content on there almost every day. But I'll twice a month I'll teach live. Twice for 15, 20 minutes. Another one once a month is a whole hour. So you can have, I encourage people to jump in there as well, because it's a community, right? The women who are joining us are women searching, super smart, super powerful, like super, they get it, and they're confused and frustrated, right? So join the community of women, like-minded women who support each other into, learning this stuff and being part of the machine. Because my job, like I said, my mission is to make this nationwide, worldwide eventually. In my head, the calling is Oprah big. Oprah big. Okay, let's go. That's pretty large, because it's actually rather easy to teach. It's just it's not out there. It's just not, nobody knows how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're providing that resource for them. And I'm sure that if there's anyone out there listening who has ever questioned, why are you stuck in the same patterns of behavior, this would be wonderful for you to take advantage of that. So I want to thank you so much for offering those things.
Absolutely.
And also for coming on here and sharing your story. This was such a great conversation.
Totally, absolutely fun. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you listeners and spread the work a little wider.
Absolutely. And it's definitely needed. So thank you again so much for joining us.
My absolute pleasure.
And I want to thank all of you for being here with us today as well. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. And the greatest compliment you can pay me is to share the podcast with others. Don't forget to follow me on social media. If you want to go to my website, melissaoatman.com, you can see all the services I offer. You can work with me. You can book a free discovery call with me as well. I am sending you guys so much love and light. I hope you have a beautiful day from wherever you're listening. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.